Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
A very good morning to all our guests who are joining us on this lovely wintry morning in Delhi, and it's absolutely fine weather across the board as far as the Lal Street is concerned. You had a fantastic closing record high on Friday thanks to very strong numbers from Wipro, from Infosys and TCS, and over the weekend as also on Friday strong earnings have come in from HCL Technologies and Wipro. How the markets will shape up, we'll let you know a while, but before that, let's take a look at the major headlines. The Nifty index is likely to continue its upward journey on Monday as pent-up buying in frontline IT stocks may push the index to a fresh record high. It's tech stocks all the way as markets will react to market-beating quarterly earnings from HCL Technologies and to some extent Wipro as well. Mid-cap IT stocks will also remain in the limelight. Good morning once again. Shail Bhatnagar joining you on Market Today at Business Today Television. The mood, the sentiment, as also the thought process on the Lal Street is extremely bullish. We had a very strong close on Friday, 21,894, up 250 points on the Nifty, driven primarily by the 5 IT stocks that are a part of the Nifty. The Nifty IT index also surged somewhere like 1780 points to 36,521, all thanks to very strong earnings and market beating effort by TCS and Infosys. Now that was on Friday, but an equally strong show by HCL Technologies after markets closed last week, as also Wipro. HCL Technologies has exceeded expectations on all counts, and Wipro was supposed to come up with a very weak set of numbers. The numbers are weak, but they're not as weak as the street was expecting. And Wipro in turn, the ADR, the American Depository Receipt, actually surged 16% in the US markets on Friday evening. Be that as it may, the Nifty index is right there in front of you. Like I said, the trend is high. You have Reliance and IT contributing very strongly as far as last week was concerned. Out of 5 trading sessions, 4 ended up in gains, and the last one was fabulous, a rally of 250 points as far as the Nifty is concerned. Cues from overseas, especially Wall Street, are fairly flat, but we are running on our own steam, and it's the GIFT Nifty which points to a 0.5% uptick as far as the main index is concerned. So therefore we should somewhere close in the vicinity of 22,000, and if that happens, then a fresh rally will again begin on the Lal Street. IT will occupy a lot of mind space today. HCL Technologies already closed at a record high on Friday. Remember, for you, we are tracking the 1500 Jan 25th call on HCL Technology. Let's see how it opens. It closed very sharply up, and apart from Wipro, entire mid-cap IT is going to be in very strong momentum. So HCL Tech, Wipro, entire mid-cap IT. And what's really interesting, ladies and gentlemen, is that the third leg of Nifty, which is HDFC Bank, is going to make an exception. The company will declare earnings tomorrow. Normally HDFC Bank reports earnings on the second Saturday of every quarterly reporting month, but this time it's an exception, and the stock itself is down about 5-7% from its all-time high. So apart from HDFC Bank, the rest of the Nifty is clicking fairly strongly. There's a record high on Reliance Industries, stuck all through last week. Infosys was the top gainer on Friday, up 7% on huge volumes. The uptick there continues. Large parts of Nifty, including the auto and the pharma stocks, are in a very strong bull market. It was HDFC Bank that is lagging, and let's see how earnings are. But for the moment, it makes perfect sense to buy any dip on the Nifty index closer to 21,800. The mood, the sentiment, and the thought process on the Nifty is fairly strong as far as the Lal Street is concerned. We should see a closing above 22,000, and it just might be, sensible that if you've been carrying longs for quite a while, you just should book somewhere like 15 to 20% profit, if at all, at least on frontline counters where you've made decent money. Nevertheless, buy on hold remains a better strategy as far as Nifty is concerned. You will make much more money on that side. Let's pay attention to the Bank Nifty. It also closed 0.5% higher, 47,709 on Friday, but the trend, the momentum, and the thought process on Bank Nifty is not as strong as it is on Nifty, and that's primarily because of HDFC Bank, which is below its 20-day exponential moving average. Like I said, the bank will announce its earnings fairly soon tomorrow. Let's see whether the thought process changes on the Bank Nifty for the better. But for the moment, it's mid-cap IT, it's HCL Technologies, it's Wipro, and a host of counters on the cash side that are going to attract traders' attention as far as Monday's game is concerned. We'll remain glued as far as the markets are concerned to the cash part, and let's see how it pans out. But let's take some market opinion. Chakri Lokpriya, Managing Director at Red Straw Limited Liability Partners, is joining us on the show. Very good morning to you, Chakri, and what a pleasure to host you. A lovely day on the Lal Street, and it's your first appearance in 2024. A very warm welcome. Happy New Year. How do you feel?
Good morning and Happy New Year. You're absolutely right. You summed it up well. I think we're starting off the new year on a very strong thing. New sectors like IT are joining to the party. Sectors like metals, which have also underperformed last year, will also likely to join the party. And it also seems to be that the other export sectors, other than metals, because now the cut in the US interest rates seems to be closer than expected. So sometime maybe in March, we'll expect to see the cut starting in US. And if that will add further fuel to both the IT as well as the banking sector and the cyclical sectors.
Okay. Chakri, let's just analyze the kind of performance that's come up with the IT sector. Remember, Infosys, TCS in particular, were two counters that did pretty much nothing as far as 2023 were concerned, and they're starting 2024 with a huge bang. So there is a swing that has to catch up with the rest of Nifty, as also earnings are, how should I say, better than expected. Expectations were mild to tempered as far as TCS and Infosys is concerned. What would be your top pick amongst the four leading IT companies on the Nifty, which is Wipro, HCL Tech, TCS and Infosys?
I think all the four will do well, and if you have to pick, then it's HCL Technologies and TCS will do really well. And mind you, all these stocks have underperformed over the last 1 year. What is happening is a mirror of, let's say, about 12-14 months ago, where US rates were rising, and therefore there was the fear that because of rising interest rates, technology spend will slow down. Today, 1 year later, it's exact opposite. Now there is the hope, anticipation that US interest rates will start being cut, and therefore all the stalled projects in the current order book as well as new order book will come back alive. So against this backdrop, TCS has a huge base in financial services. That's usually the first industry that starts IT spend amongst all sectors. And that's the reason I say TCS will be likely to the first to benefit. HCL Technologies, with its business model of outsourcing, a good amount of the workforce of the companies that it works with. There again, valuations are on its side. Margins were really strong compared to expectations when it reported earnings a couple of days ago. And a combination of, plus the order book seems to be in perfectly good shape. So I think these are the factors for IT to do well. HCL Technologies, TCS.
Okay, and there is an interesting data point that I'd like to mention. Of course, I'll show you the long-term chart of HCL Technologies. This is being one of the outperformers as far as the large cap IT space is concerned. And if you see the 1 year performance, the counters up 43%. Of course, a record high that we saw on Friday, 1540, and the stock will react fairly strongly today. But look at how TCS and Infosys have performed even at 15th of January, after the stunning rally that you've seen over the last 2 or 3 trading sessions. TCS is just up 14% on a 1 year basis, and Infosys is up just 7%. So there's a huge catch up that needs to be done, and these counters in any case are relatively under-owned when you look at how the rallies have happened in pharma, in auto, and so on and so forth. Chakri, let's pay attention to your picks. We've discussed IT. How would you want to start 2024? Is your thought process as bullish as it was in the last quarter of 2023, or have you tempered your thoughts? How are you deploying fresh money?
I'm as bullish as I was last year, and I think the momentum, business momentum, will continue well into 2024. And once interest rates start cutting in the US, that will also make RBI start cutting interest rates in India. That will make, do ease of cost of business for across all sectors. So all the industrial sectors, which did well last year, will continue to do well this year. Second, the export set of companies which did not do well last year, whether it was chemicals, IT, metals, they will begin to join the party in 2024. And they are big components in the case of the Nifty. So that they will add to the earnings growth of Nifty. And third is banks. Banks also have not actually done that great in terms of performance. PSU banks have done well. Some of the private banks have not done well. I think the PSU banks will continue to do well because valuations on their side, deposit growths are good, credit growths are good, balance sheets are strong. On the other hand, the private banks will also begin to join the party.
Okay. What would be your top picks as far as the Nifty is concerned? One understands that should it close above 22,000, we are looking at a secular move at least till the end of the month, and then of course you have the interim budget, and then probably a very decent rally till election results are announced. What within Nifty will outperform the already spectacular rally that we are expecting in this index?
I think within Nifty, if you look at within IT, it is probably TCS, Infosys. Industrials, it's Larsen Tubero. But then within metals, maybe Tata Steel. And within banks, it's ICICI and Axis Bank. I think, all these companies' valuations are extremely well positioned on their side. The fundamentals are strong. The stocks have not done that well in the previous 12 months. And therefore, I think there's sufficient comfort for these stocks to rally further from here.
Okay, so within large caps, Axis, L&T, Infosys, TCS, as also a little talked about stock which is Tata Steel. Let's shift focus, Chakri, and look at the space which is mid caps and small caps. The stunning rallies in 2023 on the mid cap and the small cap index haven't deterred traders or even retail investors. They're buying like a frenzied market, which is to some extent good. You see daily upticks as far as prices are concerned. How are you positioning yourself in terms of overall capital allocation? within mid caps and small caps. Then we look at sectors and specific stocks. Fresh money, how much is deployed? How much are you deploying in smalls and mids?
I think, we'll continue to maintain allocations towards small and mid, i.e., it'll be far greater than, it'll be probably about 50-60% easily, or maybe more. For the simple reason, that is in a multi-cap fund. For the simple reason that, the earnings growth for the mid-cap index, companies within the mid-cap index are accelerating at a very fast pace. Primarily because of a couple of reasons. One, if you look at railways, defense, sectors or industrials, and where there is PLI schemes. All these companies, not surprisingly, are all mid-cap companies which are in the CNX mid-cap index. And therefore, whether you look at any of whether it's a Bharat Electronics in defense, in railways companies, you're seeing a tremendous amount of order book coming in, and therefore revenue and EPS being revised upwards. So from that perspective, clearly, industrials is a space we will continue to look at the mid-cap space.
Okay. You've mentioned a particular stock from the defense industry, BEL. We've seen a fairly strong move coming on there, 183.50 in front of you. This, of course, is a record level. Anything apart from defense in the railway theme that catches your attention, which, although in a fairly strong momentum, is still relatively undervalued to its potential?
The usual suspects, which is whether it's Titagar, which has done fantastically well, or Jupiter, which is kind of still has to play a catch-up. These are the stocks where the order book is coming in really strong. The order books are secure. They are come from government-related entities, so therefore there is lower risk. There is greater visibility. So these are the companies I think I would focus on.
Okay. The pre-open trades will be with us shortly, as also Akshay Bhagwat will be joining us on the panel. Let's see how the markets open. It's a fairly strong uptick on the Nifty, 110 points higher, 22,024. So we are starting with a gap up. This points to a lot of pent-up buying that remained unfulfilled as far as Friday was concerned. Remember, it was a trending day on Friday. Let us see how the markets have now opened up. It's a very strong show. 130 higher, 22,027. Chakri, your presence in the second week of January has been very lucky to the markets. Let's see what's contributing as far as markets are concerned. I want to first look at HCL Technologies in terms of the price. Okay, no surprise here, 10% higher. Remember, this is the first circuit that is allowed as far as F&O stocks are concerned, 1694. It's a blowout here. Let's see whether this sustains or not. Wipro, 9.9% higher, following suit, 511.95. How about Infosys? I want to see what this one's doing. 0.5% higher, 1620. It had its day on Friday. Let's not be more complaining about it. TCS, 2% higher, 3961. Now, what's HDFC Bank trying to do? 1% higher, 1658. And how about Reliance? 0.3% higher, 2750. The rally on the Nifty is now getting stronger, ladies and gentlemen. 190 higher, 22,081. Chakri, I must tell you that you must be a regular on Market Today from now on, at least 3 appearances a week. Your presence is helping bulls make a fine day. Well, it's a double century. 214 points higher, 22,100. That's really exciting. Let's look at the top gainers on the IT index, on the Nifty apart from IT. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 10% each on Wipro and HCL Tech. A strong show on Infosys, on ONGC, 3% higher. And I completely forgot to mention in my enthusiasm, Tata Consumer. We need to look at this stock in great detail. It closed at a record high on Friday. The company's announced 2 buyouts worth about 7,000 crore rupees over the weekend. One is Organic India, the other is Ching's Food. So this is a stock that you need to look at. TCS, Tech Mahindra, Ultratech up between 1 and 2%. HDFC Bank, HDFC Life, L&T Mindtree up between 1.3%, 2%. SBI Sun Pharma, Divi's Life up between 1 and 1.3%. Are there any losers on the Nifty? Ladies and gentlemen, none. So 50 stocks of Nifty are opening in the green. The Nifty is now gathering steam, 240 points higher, 22,134. Let's just take a look at FNO and then we'll touch base with Akshay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now there is another stock, LIC Housing Finance, which is 10% higher. This is interesting. I'll also want to see what LIC is doing because it's got a 25,000 crore refund from the Government of India Income Tax Department on some issues, and it's at 847, 2.1% higher. Another very quick look at NSE 500. It's a crisis of plenty, ladies and gentlemen. BHEL 4.76% higher, 205.80. It's won an order from NLC India. Lupin's got a nod from the US FDA for a drug to be launched in the US market, 2.6% higher, 14.34. Okay, enough. Let's see whether Akshay is through or not. No, he isn't as yet. Okay, let's touch base with Chakri. Mr. Lokpriya, it's a blowout today. A double century gap up, 22,093. Are we overheated? Is this excessive? Are you a bit concerned?
Absolutely not. I think we are not overheated. The market moves higher. Yes, there will be bound of these, routine, whatever profit-taking sessions that will happen. But I think fundamentally we are now at reaching a point where you will begin to see earnings acceleration. And as that happens, then, then the Nifty multiples, if you look at FY26, the Nifty is probably trading at about still 18, 19 times 26, and which is not expensive. And in this kind of a recovery market, one should rather start looking at FY26, 27. And I think, yes, the market is firmly well positioned.
Okay. Akshay Bhagwat has joined us. A very good morning to you, Akshay. I really wonder if anything could be better than the opening that we are seeing on the Nifty and how IT stocks are reacting. Your view on the index, I'd like to play a contrarian here. Is this time to book some money away from the Nifty at these levels, or do you want to continue?
Good morning, Shailji. Absolutely a very fabulous Monday morning to start with. You can't ask for more. A breakout done and dusted on Friday's trading session at 21,850, and there you have a very strong gap up opening. So landmarks will be conquered. 22K plus is where we are opening. Technically, going by the price projections, 22,150 to 22,300 roughly is the area which might be vulnerable to the next round of profit booking. So I would suggest that trading positions only if you have 22,150, 22,300. These are the areas where you need to be a bit alert. But on the momentum front, it is the IT show today and that should continue. So yes, capture the momentum for day traders. It's still a lot of merit to be made. And I believe this is the best of the markets to be in as we are currently in.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll take a very, very quick break. I think even I need to take a pause before this market really shoots up at 9:50. So a quick commercial break, and on the other side, we'll be discussing the two stocks that Akshay prefers for today's trade. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. It's going to be a very, very exciting Monday. Tighten your seatbelts.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent. Managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, Nifty settled 158 points higher, 22,053. The Bank Nifty 181 points higher, 47,891. And ladies and gentlemen, it will be another blowout on the IT index. After Friday's uptick of 1785 points, the IT index has settled 1,000 points higher, 2.8%, 37,538. We'll be discussing this in great detail, but touching base with Akshay. Your top two picks, Akshay, what are you looking at?
Shailji, my top two picks first is from the banking space, ICICI Bank, which is staging a short-term reversal. It closed around 1003. So 990 is your support base, and the momentum should see ICICI Bank retesting the swing high of 1040, which was seen in December. So I would suggest buy ICICI Bank at the market opening. Target 1030 to 1040 with a stop loss of 990. Second trade is ITC, a slightly defensive pick here, but I believe ITC too should catch on to the momentum soon. But buy ITC at current rates of 470, keep a target of the recent swing high, which is around 480, with a stop loss of 465.
Okay, so two unusual picks, ICICI Bank and ITC. Remember, Akshay is staying away from the froth that we are seeing on specifically IT. Let's look at the two earnings boys, which is HCL Technologies and Wipro. Coming to you, Akshay, how would you be trading this gap up? 9%, 10% on Wipro and about 5% on HCL Tech. Should these be chased?
If you're a day trader, yes, you can chase the momentum, because if you recollect on Friday after the results, Infosys and TCS both continued to catch on and hang on to the momentum post the gap up opening. So here the looking at the charts, especially Wipro and HCL Tech are very strongly placed on the charts and possibly the candidates for the next run of momentum. So this would suit you as a day trader. Even on opening, you can consider buying it. Let the first 5-10 minutes just stabilize and see if there is profit booking or not. If it does stabilize, Wipro can easily head for targets of around 585, 590 on the upside. Your support area is 446. And even in HCL Tech, which is posting a strong opening today, 1544 is where it closed, 1600 is where it should possibly target. So 1500 is a support base. Chase the momentum. Just give a 5-10 minutes of opening trades to settle down, and then you can cling on to the momentum for the next round of the day.
Okay, that's how the thought process is as of now. Let's get Chakri into the conversation. Chakri, over the last 1 month or so, we've seen auto ancillaries participate very strongly in the long side. Any picks that you'd like to share of this sector, which really hasn't appreciated smartly overall in 2023?
No, auto ancillaries as a space clearly will, I think, do well going into 2024. Partly because, it's the EV story, and also the expansion of their market base from launching new products. Companies like Motherson Sumi have not really done that well for various reasons, and they're Motherson, which has not done that well. So simply because it's an export-focused company, and with lots of overseas offices, etc., overseas factories, all of them suffered from global slowdown. They will now start benefiting as the globe starts cutting interest rates, and as well as it benefits from its expansion into the EV space.
Boss, please. Okay, that is the view as far as auto ancillaries are concerned. I'll just mark a couple of prices when it comes to pre-opening trades. Please look at FIAM Industries, 2550, 2.5% higher. The company is announcing a bonus or a stock split. The counter has already appreciated very fast, and it's now looking at another 2.5% uptick. I'll also focus on the Adani group of stocks because the group has begun road shows in some parts of Western Europe to again gather overseas interest. Adani Enterprises 0.6% higher, 3123. Adani Ports 1214, 0.5% higher. Akshay, to you, any stock in the Adani group that you are looking at on the long term?
Well, both Adani Enterprise and Adani Ports, both these stocks have exposure to the futures and option space. These are very fabulously placed on the charts, even from a long-term perspective. Coming to Adani Ports first, it has managed to get past the all-time high levels. The entire the black clouds which are surrounding, you can say, the Adani group have vanished, and this stock is set for a new round of momentum. As I see, it easily can go till 1375 to 1400 on the upside. That's the upside capacity I see in Adani Ports from a 3 to 4 month perspective. And moving on to Adani Enterprise too, there it has a very fabulous chart setting up for its all-time high levels, which stand around 4000. I'm predicting this targets by around 2 to 3 months maximum. So yes, both the stocks are very strongly positioned on the technical front, and you can bet on them from a medium-term perspective.
Okay, that's the interesting part. We have a minute left as far as pre-open trades are concerned. Opening is going to be a gap up. We've already taken out the first resistance, and this is because of the gap up, and the second resistance is at 22,060. Let's see what happens, and it's going to be led by a very, very strong uptick in IT. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the first rates coming in. The Nifty's opened at 22,032, 140 points higher. A very, very strong uptick on Nifty IT, 2.9% higher, 1,035 points, and uptick 37,534. Let's, without further ado, pay attention. Okay, Wipro 10% higher, 511.95. The first circuit in place. HCL Technologies 3.5% higher, 1591. What else is clicking in IT? I just want to focus on IT in the initial part of trade. Okay, Infosys 1.6% higher, TCS 1% higher, HCL Tech 2.7% higher, 1583. Persistent 1.7% higher, Coforge 1.2% higher, 6722. A very, very strong move coming in. Let's look at LIC. This is a stock that's moving very, very sharply after the 25,000 crore IT refund that the company has got at 858. This will be roughly a 3% uptick. What we'll do is we'll break tradition and first go to Akshay. Akshay, this is a blowout. How do you see the Nifty today? And is there a stock that is catching your attention?
Well, a very strong gap up, and yes, it is slightly vulnerable to profit booking in the first hour of trade. The reason being that we have conquered a psychological mark, and I mean, these returns, are very fast and very soon. And I understand that there can be some intraday profit booking near the 22,000 mark. So before timing fresh buy bets, let first half an hour to 1 hour pass by, let the market settle down. We'll get a fair idea if the level of 22,000 22,000 is sustaining or not. If it does, then after the first hour of trade, you can go for a momentum trade. But broadly, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, 22,150 to 22,300 is the best case I see for the January series. Still some more upside to go, maybe the last leg of rally as far as the Jan series is concerned. But yes, momentum will chase the stocks. There's where you should trade, and I firmly believe that a lot of money can be made for January in stocks. As far as the stock picking goes here, again, I will be very keen on the banking pack here. PSU Bank is what would entice me here. PNB, Bank of Baroda, State Bank of India, these are some of the bets I would be keen on from a short-term perspective.
Okay, another gap up as far as the Nifty IT index is concerned. 37,662 makes it closer to January 2022. So it's a 2-year high. And ladies and gentlemen, the highest level that the IT index has ever touched is 39,446. We are still 1,800 points away from that. But the trajectory for the markets is completely unmistakable. It's now Infosys, which is coming to the fore, up 2.5%, 1654. Chakri, your opening comments on the gap up that we've seen, and I'm sure you are watching stock prices as well. Anything that catches your fancy so far?
Within the IT space, given that there is the end in sight that US interest rates are going to cut, etc. So I think it's HCL Technologies still looks very good. Infosys has been a laggard, so therefore yes. Wipro, I think from a short-term positional investment perspective, yes. In fact, the whole IT pack is looking very strong. So I think HCL Tech and Infosys.
Okay, I'll also take a look at the 1500 HCL Tech call that we had pointed out at 38 rupees on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. You just need to look at the price and feel very happy about it. In the first 1 minute of trade, it's hit a high of 110 rupees, and at the now consolidating at 93 rupees. We've been caught up with the frenzy on IT. Let's look at how the rest of the market has moved up. It's almost 920 on the board, and let's look at the broader markets. Okay, NSE advanced decline is hugely positive. 1600 stocks in the green, just 400 in the red. That's a 4:1 advanced decline ratio in favor of bulls, which is extremely bullish, given that we are on the first trading day of the week, and it's the 5th day of a consecutive uptick on Nifty. Okay, all 19 indices are in the green, ladies and gentlemen. No surprise which one is the top gainer, which is the Nifty IT index, 3.4% higher. All 10 stocks in the green. The Realty Index and the PSU Banking Index up 1% each. The Nifty 50 up 0.75%. Strong gains across the board. I'll also take this opportunity to look at stocks that have hit all-time highs. MRPL 13% higher. Hold your breath. 181. IRFC 5.2% higher. 119. We have a strong move coming in on Prestige Real Estate. 1436, 4% higher. HCL Tech, Motilal Oswal Financial Securities, persistent. Birla Soft, 1.7% higher, 800. Coforge, Tata Consumer, all of them in strong gains. Let's touch base with Chakri. Mr. Lokpriya, we've had this corporate development over the weekend on Tata Consumer. Fresh record high. The company's done 2 fantastic buyouts worth about 7,000 crore rupees. How do you look at this one?
Both the acquisitions are actually very good ones. They'll probably buy them out at about 5 to 6 times revenue, which is quite a decent number in the consumer space that they're in. I think Tata Consumer is in a process of brand building of its various products. And that franchise, I think, will hold the company well in terms of its earnings regrowth acceleration. We will see. We expect to see, going out maybe into a year or so or more, the earnings will start accelerating for Tata Consumer, both because of organic and inorganic, and it's extremely well placed.
Okay. Over to you, Akshay. Tata Consumer on the charts. What is it telling you?
Well, Tata Consumer charts are absolutely fantastic, very strong charts. And if you look at the run up they had, I mean, unstoppable is the only word I have. Yes, from a short-term trading perspective, a bit overstretched for comfort as it currently trades 1167. So as a short-term trader, I would believe that it is slightly vulnerable for temporary profit booking considering the highly overbought nature of the RSI indicator. 1100, 1120 is the ideal level to get into the stock again. Positional traders, yes, leaving aside the temporary cool off, I think the broader targets work out till 1250 on the upside.
Okay. The first 7 minutes of trade has happened. The Nifty, ladies and gentlemen, is now taking out the second resistance, 22,061. It essentially means that we should be chasing this Nifty. Let's look at what the Nifty option chain is saying. Remember, we are on Monday. We still have 3 days for this weekly expiry of 18th Jan to pass on. Okay. Extreme short covering in the money calls. Let's look at the 22,000 call, 168 in front of me. This is 22,000 weekly call of Nifty expiring on 18th Jan. It's a gap up, Akshay. Would you look at 169 on this one, and what would be your view? Still wait or continue?
Yeah, as I said, the opening trades have been positive. Nifty is holding on to its opening gains, sustained about 22,000. So definitely it builds up a case for a buy trade if you are a day trader. So clearly your stop loss is below 22,000 and 22,150 to 22,300 is what you target on the upside, maybe from day trading or maybe from a carry forward perspective. Here the option which you mentioned, 22,300 OTM calls can be bought for the current week if you have a slightly bigger view, or you can even stay with your 22,100 call buy position. So yes, with a stop loss below 22,000, the setup as far as day trading goes is certainly looking promising as we move on.
Okay. Chakri, anything that's caught your attention? Now 9:24. The first 7-8 minutes, all indices have sort of held on to their gains. Not much of profit booking coming. In fact, Nifty is now gathering steam, 22,074. What have you liked so far in trade?
In the Nifty, we've spoken about IT looking very good. I think SBI in the PSU space, I think still companies like Bank of India, Union Bank are looking good. And within the NBFCs, companies like Shriram Finance, they all are extremely well positioned because valuations are on their side. They've run well, but still the business momentum is in their favor. So I think Shriram Finance, Bank of India, Union Bank, etc. in the broader market, SBI, and the IT pack in the Nifty.
Okay, Union Bank is something that I saw ticking fairly smartly. This is as good a time as any to look at the PSU basket and look at outperformers. Okay, Chennai Petro we marked 6% higher, 887. IRFC 5.5% higher. Okay, JK Bank is now clicking. 3.4% higher, 134.30. Maharashtra Bank 49.90. Strong move coming here, 3.2% higher. Chakri mentioned Union Bank 135 for you, 2.9% higher. Ireda 114, 3% higher. Bank of India is what Chakri mentioned, 132.70, 2.8% on the uptick. Akshay, to you, anything in the PSU basket overall and anything in the PSU banking basket that catches your attention?
Here certainly it has to be Punjab National Bank. Punjab National Bank has been a very strong mover lately, especially in the last couple of months. A slight resistance at 100, but I believe this should be overcome and it should be heading for upside targets till around 115 to 118. So yes, consider National Bank to be on your buy watch list with a stop loss of 93. And the second banking here would be State Bank of India, which clearly has registered a breakout few trades back and is setting up again to get past the recent swing high of 655, 660 levels. So broadly, I'm targeting 690 on the upside for State Bank of India. Support zone is 630. State Bank would be the other stock from the PSU basket, which you should have on your buy watch list.
Okay, that's a fairly strong vindication of India's best known public sector franchise. Bank Nifty days high 48,167. Let's look at what the chart of Bank Nifty is saying. A 360 point uptick. HDFC Bank actually is what needs to be watched simply because, yes. Akshay, to you. 1662. Once you rustle up your view, I'll also look at the option chain of HDFC Bank. But first, your view.
Prior to the results, I think next sector which should be buzzing post IT should be the banking pack. Now Nifty might take a back seat, and here you will have the banking performing, and HDFC Bank has to take the lead ahead of the results. I believe some buying positions are slowly building, as I understand, looking at the opening trades in HDFC Bank. Clearly a good support base set up at 1640. Ahead of the results, it should easily target around 1680, 85, but broadly 1720 to 1750 is what I see HDFC Bank in the January series. So yes, HDFC Bank should be on your buy watch list, should consider buying it ahead of the results. Your support is 1625 and the target you should be working with is 1720 and 1750.
Okay, the 1660 call, I'm just requesting the PCR to fire. The 1660 call on HDFC Bank now trading at somewhere in the vicinity of 3160. It's risen a bit. Remember, the day's low today was 24, but still at 31. And what's really exciting, ladies and gentlemen, that the most recent high on this one has been 83. Let's see whether the call is up on rare. Yes, it is up 22%. Akshay, would you stick your neck out on this one?
Yeah, definitely. If you look at the option chain, HDFC Bank, there is a lot of call unwinding, which I see right now at the strikes of 1640 and 1650. That's a clearly positive sign that the call writers are shying away. They are closing their writing bets, and the buying position is shifting to high strikes at 1700. So just building up a good case to be an option buyer ahead of the results. 1640 buy call, which you mentioned, is a good take ahead of the results. I would be very buoyant. Take this trade up, and if HDFC Bank does hit 1700, this has a potential to be a doubler.
Oh, wonderful. A doubler even from these levels is what our friend Akshay thinks as far as this one is concerned. What we'll do is we'll take a very, very quick break. And on the other side of that one, we'll be discussing the strong show that's coming in railway stocks. Stay tuned.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's a booming day on the Lal Street, fresh record high, driven primarily by IT stocks, and it's the rest of the market that's participating at well. And I believe Sakshi is with us. A very good morning to you, Sakshi. We have spoken to the HCL Tech management. What have you heard, and how does it look? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a bit of an issue there, but a very strong move coming on this side. Let's see whether Akshay can be on air. Yes, Akshay is with us, and let's look at the railway space. Strong ticks on this side. IRFC up 10%, 124. RVNL up 2.8%, 208.95. A strong move coming in on HBL Power. IRCON is 2.5% higher, 199.80. I want to look at IRCTC, 956, 0.6% higher. Your top pick, Akshay, in the railway space?
In the railway space, it has to be RVNL, Rail Vikas Nigam. 208 current market price, very strongly positioned on the charts, a bit overbought for comfort, but it's the railway stocks where the strong momentum is, the flows are. It's more of a short-term bet which I see in the railway counters, a buy with time horizon of this coming week, but easily 4 to 5% from the current levels can be made. So the targets of 225 is what I foresee in RVNL, and IRFC is the other trade in the railway pack, which again, although overbought, the momentum might see this test around 130 on the upside. So yes, if you are a momentum chaser, railway stocks is what you target.
Okay, let's see whether Sakshi is with us or not, but if you're chasing momentum, railway is what you should target, and this is what our friend. Okay, good morning, Sakshi.
Yes.
Over to you.
Very good morning to you, Shail. Good morning, Chakri, and good morning, Akshay. What a great day to be with all of you. I mean, 20,000 on the Nifty. What more could we have asked for? It's clearly started off as a happy new year. We were celebrating Lodi, Pongal, Onam, all of it over the weekend. And of course, the markets are in high spirits. And of course, Chakri, let me put this question to you. When was the last time that we actually saw 11-12% surge on Wipro? The IT numbers that have come about, how are you looking at them? I was just speaking to HCL Tech management, and the interview will be live on our website immediately now. But you know, they were very, very hopeful of coming out of the bad long run that we've been looking at. Attrition is definitely positive, at least for HCL Tech. I was speaking to 12.8% now. How are you looking at this entire IT space and some of these next two players when it comes to TCS, Infosys? We've already seen, but Wipro, HCL Tech, how would you look at them?
You know, the business momentum for all the IT companies including HCL Tech and Wipro, is very strong. For the exact reasons that why they went weak, let's say about a year ago, is now becoming the opposite, which is US interest rates are going to come down, stalled order books are going to get restarted, and therefore, and the AI ML space, orders from that space will also kind of accelerate. So a combination of these various things, and plus the underperformance of these companies because of stalled order books, is going to reverse on this. Therefore, I think these companies are extremely well positioned, and they go higher from current levels.
Okay. Akshay, how would you really look at trading Wipro now after this very, very strong momentum?
Good morning, Sakshi. Wipro, I mean, these numbers we don't normally see in a stock like Wipro, almost up over 10 odd percent. But
Yeah.
I believe a very strong run up. And if I had Wipro with me, I would book out my profits from a trading perspective. This
Yeah.
is though temporary, this is for day trading because the returns have happened too fast and too soon. Broadly, the way the charts are suggesting, 560, 575 is the upside, which I would see for the January series. So yes, for 500 and 495 would give me comfort to re-enter Wipro again for the targets which I mentioned. A very strong positive setup, but from a day trading perspective, yes, it makes a bit of sense to take your profits off the table.
Okay. Chakri, how would you look at the mid-cap IT names? Strong movers like Persistent Systems, Emphasis, Coforge, Birlasoft. Do they still show more promise in terms of outperformance that could continue even in the quarters to follow?
The mid-cap IT space has done much better than the large-cap IT space in terms of performance. And, they are also partly because of they are more niche business models, the scope of their businesses are, and therefore more limited, where they are going to see an acceleration, at least in companies like Persistent and Emphasis. So despite their run, I think, these companies will still see the order growth turning into revenues. And that has been the problem which for IT companies in general, which is stalled order books. Now, as those order books are released, I think Persistent, Emphasis look good.
Okay, persistent and emphasis looks good at this point in time as well. So that's as far as the big IT numbers are concerned, strong numbers coming in, and that's really pulled up the Nifty IT index at the top point today in terms of sectors, 3.7% higher for this one. Even on the Nifty, you have Wipro, Tech Mahindra, HCL Tech, LTI Mindtree, Infosys, TCS, the top 5 names on the Nifty pack, including all of these IT names. So definitely a very, very strong day as far as the IT names are concerned. The second biggest mover in terms of the markets is the banking space, especially the PSU banking space. Akshay, to you, we've been discussing this space far and wide. You've discussed not just the mainstream names, the second and the third rung PSU banking names as well, where the momentum has been pretty robust. Where exactly would you keep your focus now as fresh momentum kicks in into the Nifty PSU banking space? Are there any one or two names? Would you go back to SBI now after the second rung performers have actually been pretty much, the talk of the town?
Yeah, absolutely. State Bank would be on top of my buy watch list, especially in the PSU banking space. Here, SBI clearly has given you a technical breakout last month at the levels of 630, and the projection of this breakout is a target of 690. It's been in a consolidation and it's offered you a second opportunity at the dip of 640. So I would buy State Bank of India for targets of 690 with a stop below 630. And Bank of India is the another stock. PSU name, which I believe has the next potential to move up from the PSU banking space. 131 is where it trades, and 140 to 145 is the projection I see on the technical charts with a support base of 125. So State Bank of India and Bank of India, the two PSU banks on my buy watch list.
Okay. Chakri, to you, would you say that it is a little late to now take a fresh entry into the PSU bank after the outperformance that we've seen? Or is this a very, very long-term story that any fresh investor should continue to focus on again?
It is a long-term story. And again, if you look at the PSU banking space, their NPAs are at a 10-year low. Their deposits are at a 10-year high. Their credit growth is at a multi-year high. And their balance sheets have been stronger than they were in from 2008 onwards. Now, a confluence of all these factors, plus the corporate spend for the private sector has not begun yet. It's only the government space which has spent. So, and the valuations, whether it's an SBI, which still trades at only at about 1.2 times, and Bank of India still trades at below book value. So I think, just like Akshay was saying, I think from a fundamental perspective also, SBI, Bank of India, Union Bank, still I think there's a lot more upside left in them because for a company trading under book, it can go much higher than book.
Wonderful. And we had this, I think, 4,100 crore QIP that Bank of India recently floated. It was oversubscribed by 4 times. Good times here as far as the markets are concerned on the PSU side. Sakshi, what I'll do is that at this moment, let's look at volume breakers. And why I mention this is that we've seen very, very strong momentum so far, and it's held at 940. We are already almost 20-25 minutes into trade, and within the Nifty 500 the volume breakers, well, no surprise, Wipro. And what's really interesting, the first 10% circuit has been removed and it's now 10.5% higher, 514. Remember two things, the volume is very strong, almost 2 crore 30 lakh shares, which is 2.75 times the 5-day average. What is really interesting is that Wipro was a rank underperformer on a 1-year basis, up just 7% before this 10% rally. So we have a strong view coming in, and an old favorite, it's Happiest Minds, up 3.6% on very, very strong volumes of about 7 lakh shares. Let's focus on MRPL. It's up 14%. No point taking a technical view. It's a bit hazardous. What else is moving on very, very strong volumes? Maharashtra Bank. Now, this is exciting. Low ticket, 3.2% higher, already 1x volumes. Coming to you, Akshay, on Maharashtra Bank, 49.85. What would you say?
Maharashtra Bank definitely has picked up traction in the last couple of months, and especially if you look at the volumes and the delivery action in the price in the cash segment, it's been a good buying, which I foresee at the levels from 35 to 40. So yes, a short consolidation phase is on between around 45, 49, but I believe the breakout should happen soon on the technical charts. Broadly, I see the targets of 65 to 70 with a time horizon of 1.5 to 2 months in the Maharashtra Bank. So yes, be invested. If you want to take a fresh bet, this still is the right price to go for it. Your support is 37 and the target area is 65 to 70.
Okay. What's catching your fancy, Sakshi?
Well, Shail, I also wanted to discuss a little bit of the healthcare names with Chakri. Remember, in the last week, 10 days, we've been looking at a lot of diagnostic names come up in trade. We've also looked at, Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharma, Cipla. These names are constantly clocking in newer highs. Is there a long-term promise that you see for the year to follow? For the pharma names, Chakri, is this a story that one should track from a, medium to long-term perspective?
The pharmaceutical index, or rather the companies there, are more like stock-specific, company-specific news. In general, and it's unlike the IT industry, which is the whole sector is going to benefit from a cut in the improvement in the US environment. Here, in the case of the pharmaceutical sectors, I think Cipla is fairly well positioned. Lupin is okay. And, Apollo Hospitals is also looking good in the services space. Now, that's a combination. In the case of the pharmaceutical sector, the reason is behind some of the domestic the formulations for these companies, whether it's Cipla, is improving. And in the case of Apollo Hospitals, you are seeing an acceleration of patient footfalls coming in for their various treatment procedures. And these stocks have done well, decently okay, but I think they'll still continue to do well.
Okay, fair enough. Let's look at some of the other momentum-based stocks that are moving up in trade. IRFC, that's the stock that's moving up very, very sharply in the Nifty 500 basket, 12.3% higher in trade. Ircon International, that's another from the railway space that's buzzing very, very strongly as well. The momentum is very strong even on the second-rung stocks from the railways pack, the wagon makers as well. Akshay, to you, as far as the railway stocks are concerned, which is the top bet that you have currently? And because we've been seeing week after week, one or the other stocks really come up in trade and perform very, very strongly. Which is the one that you find strongest on the charts as far as the railway pack is concerned, Akshay?
So IRFC and RVNL, these are the two names I have from the railway pack. Now it's all about catching the momentum here. It's about catching a running train, as I understand, as the way these counters are moving. So I would bet on rail counters completely from a momentum perspective with a very short time horizon of not more than a week. So yes, 4 to 5% easily can be made, but you need to know your risks at this point of time if you are chasing the momentum. Have strict stop losses, but RVNL and IRFC, these would be my top two bets in the railway space.
Okay. Mr. Lokprev, what about you? How are you looking at the momentum build on in the railways pack? Is this a story that you believe is a structural long-term story for investors? Of course, we do know that we are just about 20 days, less than 20 days away from the vote on account budget, and these stocks definitely get to perform around the budget as well. But is there a long-term structural story one should be tracking here?
Clearly the long-term story at this time around is basically, you did not have this kind of an order flow ever for the railway companies, at least in the last, let's say, about 5, 7, 8 years. So now we are seeing actual order flows, whether it is a Titagar wagons or a Jupiter, or or companies which finance that, such as IRFC, and provide ancillary services which are other companies in the railway space. So, a combination of this now, which means the order book is very secure. You're looking out into a good 3-4 years out. They've expanded not just into railways, but also metro, and they've also started exporting. So things which the business model, which was not there before, have added to new revenue streams, and therefore the valuations are fine. And I think there is still sufficient upside for the long-term investor.
Okay, we are at, ladies and gentlemen, 9:47. Half an hour of trade has passed. 22,041 on the Nifty, up 0.6%. Some point of, how should I say, sluggishness coming into the Nifty. It was a gap up of roughly about 160 points. A bit of profit booking happening, which is all fair in this kind of a market, simply because a lot of gap ups on calls and options would have automatically resulted in this kind of profit booking. What else is moving? Let's look at the FNO space. Sakshi, could you just point out the top gainers there?
Absolutely. It's Wipro again, 8.5% higher as far as the FNO space is concerned. 8.7% uptick right now at 510 being seen currently. As far as the other IT names are concerned, it's Tech Mahindra, that's 5.5% up in trade again, another top FNO mover at this point in time again. You also have HCL Technologies, that's now 3.8% higher as far as the FNO move is concerned. LTI Mindtree, 3.3% uptick coming in on that one. You also have Infosys, that's 2% higher in trade. Among, of course, there's also emphasis that our guests are positive on, 1.8% higher at this point in time. And apart from the IT names, from the pharma pack, it's Oro Pharma, that's 2.4% higher in trade from the pharma pack. You also have Metropolis Healthcare, that's up by 2% as well, up in trade. These are the top gainers as far as the FNO action is concerned. Shail.
Okay. Let's pay attention to top traded counters as far as the NSE 500 is concerned, and we won't be marking IRFC because Sakshi's already discussed it. Wipro, about 1,400 crores worth of transactions happened, 8.4% higher. HCL Tech, 629 crores. Remember, these are way above their 5-day averages. I'm very interested in HDFC Bank, 438 crores in terms of moves. Sakshi, HDFC Bank will, after many years, declare earnings during the week. It normally does so on the second Saturday of every fortnight, but we are lucky this time. And remember, Reliance is at a record high. Infosys has started to move. It's the third and the most important leg, HDFC Bank, which is quiet, down below 20 DMA. Let's see what earnings bring to this particular one. TCS above 400 crores in terms of volume. BHEL, a bit of price action that's now subdued. In the morning it was at 205, now at 199. Your very quick view, Akshay, on BHEL.
Well, BHL again, this is another counter which is very strong on the technical charts. For the short term, it's in a slight consolidation or a range bound action. 205 and 200 is the range which I foresee right now. But this is more temporary. I believe this stock should be heading for higher targets, possibly till 218, 220 on the upside. So yes, temporary consolidation. If you are a buyer, let the breakout happen. Let the levels or the upside band of 205 cross, then you take a buy trade, because there's where we'll get the momentum. Target 218 on the upside with a stop loss of 195.
Okay. Right. Let's also focus on some more stocks. Chakri, I wanted to understand from you, from the larger infrastructure story and the cement pack that I always discuss with my guests. How are you looking at these two spaces? Again, these two spaces again attract a lot of traction in the January to March months. We've also seen that the budgetary support for infrastructure layout is very supportive for these again. We're looking at L&T, the poster boy of our infrastructure story, again pick up pace. But are you also looking at the second rung names here? And how would you advise investors to really make infrastructure stocks, cement stocks as a part of their portfolios now?
Infrastructure stocks and cement stocks are clearly going to benefit from the continued not just government spending, but also now you will see an acceleration of the private sector coming back in a little bit. So L&T clearly, like you rightly said, poster boy will continue to do well, both because of domestic and export reasons. And then you go down the curve, if you go to companies like Nagarjuna, construction's also extremely well positioned. It's getting into new lines of business. It's getting into smart metering, and which is a huge growth industry in the infrastructure space, infrastructure slash power space. And within Dalmia Bharat, companies are seeing decent amount of volume, not much pricing pressure, not much pricing power, but their costs are going down, input costs are going down. So a combination of volume uptick, and this overall infrastructure spend, I think cement will do decently well.
Right. Chakri, also wanted to understand from you when it comes to the outperformers. In the past calendar year, we've seen subsectors, defense, railways, power space, PSUs really perform to the T as well. Going forward into the new year, are you betting big on some of these sectoral movers to carry on the outperformance, or are we going to see another dark horse emerge in 2024?
Well, as you mentioned, for instance, if you look at power has done exceedingly well. If you take power finance, RDC, and the reason they have done well is because, they're seeing a complete new acceleration of their loan book growth. Loan book growth coming from because of new initiatives in green energy, thermal energy, etc., renewables. And the company, after all the run, Power Finance and REC are still trading at only at about 1.1 point times book on FY 26-27. So, and if you rewind back, these were the companies which used to trade 10 years ago at more than 3 times, 4 times book. And so, with their NPAs at very low level, with an order book growing really fast, I think, these companies go much higher, and so will companies like NTPC.
Okay. So that's as far as the top pick for Chakri goes in
let's
the power space.
look at the markets, Sakshi. I would like to pay attention to Happiest Minds. Remember, Sakshi, till about 4 years ago, this was one of the most interesting IPOs to list, and it's doing fairly well in trade today. 954 in front of me. The volumes are fairly substantial, almost 9,90,000 shares. Is Akshay still with us? And if he is, then let's take a view from him. The reason why I mention is that this is the highest since September of 2023. So this is fairly significant given the strong uptick that we are seeing in mid-cap IT as well as large-cap IT. Akshay, to you.
Happiest Minds, well, if you are a short-term trader, we are trading at a resistance that's poised at 955, just a couple of points from where it trades. But if you look at the slightly broader charts, the weekly charts, clearly 900, 920 is the area where the volumes of very significant delivery-based action is picking up. I believe that this stock is mostly in an accumulation stage, charting a base of around the 900 odd levels and ready to launch itself for the next round of upside, which can easily target 1100. So yes, for the targets of 1100, you need to give some time to this trade. Maybe 1.5 to 2 months is what the maximum time frame would be. Short term, intraday, just give it a miss at this point. Let it break above 960. That's the momentum catching point. If not, yes, positional traders buy at current rate. 1100 is where you target.
Okay. That's the view coming in, and what's also happened is that the Nifty slipped below 22,000. A decent and fairly consistent bout of profit booking happening, and this is what Akshay had said. Let it wait, let it consolidate for the first half an hour or so, and then we'll take a view. Now the support seems to be at the first resistance, 21,980. Remember, the day's high was 108 at 22. The day's high was 22,080, and now we've slipped about 100 points from that level. Whether this will sustain, only time will tell. but it's been a fantastic opening so far. Akshay and Chakri, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us on this very eventful record-hitting day on the Lal Street. And we hope you have not only a profitable day, but a profitable week and a fabulous 2024. Thank you for your time. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Well, it's clearly a day that belongs to the IT stocks. After a long haul, they are taking, they're getting their mojo back clearly, and one can see a very, very strong momentum coming in on to all of them, Shail. So clearly day when we will continue to watch out for more momentum from the IT names. Wipro clearly is the top gainer today, 8% higher. Tech Mahindra, HCL Tech, Infosys, LTI, TCS, all of them as big winners on the top Nifty pack as well. And of course, led by support coming in from other heavyweights like Reliance Industries as well. We'll also look at winding down the market edition right now. So we'll look at Nifty 500 winners. IRFC 12% higher as a top mover on the Nifty 500 basket. Avanti Feeds follows 6.4% up. EPL is also up by 5.5%. Alemberg Pharma, Infibeam Avenues, these are the other movers. Happiest Minds, as pointed out by Shail, is up by 3.5%. And of course, apart from this, it's Bank of Maharashtra from the PSU banking space that continues its winning streak as well. So these are some of the other movers as far as the Nifty 500 is concerned. Sectorally, Nifty IT 2.5% higher, the top moving sectoral index. PSU Banks follows about 0.5% higher in trade. You also have the Nifty Bank, financial services and private banks up into the trade. Realty and healthcare stocks also up into the momentum. It's the mid caps that are holding above the flat line. But what's seen profits from the higher levels take off? So it's the oil and gas that slipped into the red. Small cap stocks slipped into the red. FMCG, autos, metals. These are the stocks that are sectors that are actually looking at some profits being taken off from the table as well. FNO movers, again, it's the IT pack. Wipro, HCL Tech, Aurobindo Pharma, Oracle Financial Services. These are the names that are moving up in trade. All right. And with that, we are looking at some profits being taken off on the main index, the Nifty as well. 90 points higher still remains 21,985. We'll continue to see as to how the markets really pan out from here and whether we will sustain the 22,000 mark even on the closing level as well. With that, it's a goodbye on this edition from Shail and me. But do stay tuned as action follows on your screens on Business Today Television. A lot of action from Davos, a lot of action from earnings, and we will see you at the closing trades as well. Do stay tuned.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
The longest sea bridge in India, or the Mumbai Trans Harbour link, is set to be inaugurated by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi today in the afternoon from the Nhava Sheva side.